Hello, KFC SuperCoaches. The teams are in. It's round 7. A surprisingly big teams day, actually. Brandon Savage from the SuperCoach Experience is here to run it through with me. Look, lots of changes in the teams, but the first things first. It's all about Nico Hines this weekend. Is he in? Is he a must-have?
He's a must-have eventually, but unfortunately, I'm not getting him in this week.
Not this week? That's a huge call.
It's massive.
Yeah.
Averages 45 against the Roosters, but it's not about that. He has a negative break-even, and you want him to end the year. So if you can do it, do it.
Do it. So what's the particular situation that you have where you're one of the... Basically, everyone's getting on Nico Hines.
I just can't make it happen at the moment without being unreasonable with my side. And I think I would have made it happen if he wasn't playing the Roosters this week. But the fact that he's playing the Roosters, who he averages 45 against, I'm quite happy just to sit on in another week and have my side set up nicely.
Fair enough. He's in for me. I feel like he's going to go up by... It's predicted to go up by about 100k. So I feel like I'm just going to get on.
Yeah.
Cop the tough matchup this week, and then it really opens up for him. He's got a whole bunch of easy matchups from there where you could captain him every week.
But he's pretty much a must-have after this week. His matchup is so good, and if he goes over $1 million this week, it's going to be tough to scrape together the money for that.
Looking at the teams, the biggest shock for me is that Cameron Munster switches to fullback. Jonah Pezzett is playing in the halves, and Nick Meaney is out with a concussion. Cameron Munster was already popular going into this round. Do you think this affects him at all? Probably improves his stats, if anything.
I think it's very good for him. I think he'll be much more popular than he was originally. He always racks up good base stats when he plays at fullback, so I think that's just an added string to his bow.
I like it, and it might nudge him up that list. Obviously, a lot of people are looking to sell Adam Dewey, so a lot of 5'8s are on the most purchased list this week. Moving on to Zach Hosking. Good to see him named in the starting side. There's a big but here, though. You've got Liam Martin and Luke Garner both lurking in the reserves, so either of those could easily come into that team.
Yeah, I think this is the week all Supercoaches have been waiting for to see how that rotation works. I think he's done enough, though, for me not to worry. He's in most of our sides, and if he drops out late, I think everyone's in the same situation. So,
yeah, and they play relatively early in the round, so you should be able to adapt to it. Lindsay Smith is another Panther that's pretty popular this week. He's gone pretty well in his first 2 games. He's set up a BE of -14. So he's handy, but he's got that same problem as Hosking. If those 2 guys come back into the team, is Smith even on the team sheet?
This guy is going to be the one who is not the benefactor of these guys coming back, and especially with James Fisher-Harris on his way back as well. That 6 is going to fall out of his average from round 1, and he's going to be that kind of front row you don't want.
Yeah, I mean, he's very much going to be in the Davey Moale mould or the Franklin Pele kind of mould. Isaac Fasamawali kind of thing. So I don't think he's urgent. If you're looking for a prop cheapie, there's a guy later on the list who I reckon is a fair bit better than Lindsay Smith. Not foolproof, though. Khan Pereira, good to see that he's been named. There's plenty of chat been floating around that Jojo Fafita would replace him, or even Ken Mamalo might replace him on the wing after all those errors that he's made. But he's in the team sheet. Jojo Fafita's lurking on the extended bench, so he could easily come in. In any case, I think AKP could be a sell this week. He's got the break-even of 5, which if he doesn't score a try, he can, let's face it, he can score that, and he did in round 1.
He could miss his break-even potentially. Yeah. I think with the amount of people that are begging for that spot, there's competition there, and you see when competition is there, someone like Khan Pereira can come out all guns blazing. I'm happy to give him another week at least.
Yeah, had 2 almost tries over the weekend. Things didn't quite go his way. Moving on to James Tedesco. He's back from a concussion. Most people don't own him, let's face it. They've sold now, but he's very cheap. You can pick him up for 210k less than his starting price as of next week.
Yeah, very good. Has a tough matchup in the Sharks this week, but it does lighten up in a couple of weeks. So just about the right time when you want to buy him.
Yeah, it could be juicy at around round 8, 9, 10. But then, of course, you've got Origin to factor in after that. Josh Schuster, he's been named. We expect him to play. He's been a false start for the last 2 weeks, so it's starting to become a bit of a worry, but this should be the week. Pretty tough matchup this week, but then it does open up for the next 2 rounds after that.
I hate to burst your bubble, Tommy.
Yeah.
He hasn't been named.
He hasn't.
He hasn't.
He's not there.
Cooper Johns was named at number 6.
Wow.
I'll just confirm that for you, but he was named at number 6 when I saw before.
That is huge. All right, massive. We better get
bit rattled here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry for throwing a spanner in the works.
No, that's good. We want to check this stuff. That's for sure.
So Cooper Johns is at 6. Josh Schuster is there at number 22.
22. Right. Yeah. So he is in.
So
the
he's
squad.
a chance to come in.
He's in the squad. That's good to know. Would you buy him with that news that he's not in the number 6 jersey? Would you buy him this week? A lot of people are to free up cash for Nico, and you've got Dewey to sell as well.
A lot of people still have him and got him in early anyway. He's guaranteed to reach above 400k at one point. He's guaranteed to make money at some point. His spot is guaranteed in that side. So I think if you need a cheapie, he's probably the best one this week, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a tough week for cheapies. You know, you're scrounging around for guys like Jared Croker and Hame Sele, who's the guy I think is the best cheapie of the week.
Sele.
But he's not, he's not a great cheapie, let's face it, but I think he is the best forward cheapie around. Moving on to Tohu Harris, he's been named, so hopefully he'll run out for the Warriors. Do you own Tohu, and what are your plans with him? Because I think he will be crucial over the Origin period, and you should be able to bring him in at a fair discount in a couple of weeks after that injury a couple of weeks ago.
I don't own him, but with a certain popular front row forward who's out with a bye this week, I need to look at one of these guys, Tohu or Tapane. And Tohu, it just sucks that he's coming back from the concussion, because is he going to be another laid out?
We don't know. Tapane is another guy who I'm really... I've got on my radar before round 13. So, yeah, I own Harris already, and Tapane is going to be one of those guys that I'll probably bring in at around 11, 12, somewhere like that.
Well, Tapane with the bye next week as well makes it tricky. So
Yep.
I like Tohu just for the flexibility and coverage he gives you, but just the timing of everything is no good, is it?
Let's chat Jared Croker, because he's a grade of SuperCoach. He came back into that Raiders team and they promptly won a big game against the Broncos. So on one side, you're saying the job security is good because they won while he was in the team, but they do have Xavier Savage to come back in, and Chris could go to centre and knock him out of the team. I want to see one more week from Croker, but a lot of people have to get on this round to free up money for Nico Hines.
Again, the timing is awkward because they do have a bye next week as well. So that you're going to have to wait another week for him. So if you can get someone else in to free up cash and then wait on him, that's the way to go. But they did move Tomoko to the right side to allow him to play the left side. So I don't know if that's a good sign, but I think I really like him as a goal-kicking cheapie.
Yeah, got 40 without doing anything really on the weekend.
Yeah.
Look, his best days are behind him. We're not going to get those seasons where he was banging out 60s in the centres. That's not going to happen again, but a pretty solid cheapie. I want to wait a week, but I think I'm going to have to get on this week just so I can get Nico.
Yeah. If he's going to do 40s and then attacking stats takes him up to 60, 70, that's exactly what you need.
Send through your questions, guys. I'm all over Facebook Live, and Savs is all over YouTube. Hit us with one first up.
Best front row forward option by Nathan Granger, under 495k. Thinking Hamlin Uele with Sharks down, Toby or Paseka. The front row forward is Welch.
Look, I've said Hame Sele is a decent buy this week at just over 300k. His break-even isn't particularly low because he had that one knockout, but he's been getting sort of 40-ish minutes and going at a point per minute. I think he's a decent cheapie, not the best one we're going to see this year, but prop is a tough position for cheapies, and I think he's decent.
Does Jai Arrow being back affect him?
Probably, yes.
We're
Probably.
desperate, aren't we? We're so desperate.
Prop is just so hard for cheapies this year.
It's no good, is it?
And he's 300 odd K. I don't like Lindsay Smith. I don't like his job security. Sele is the best of a bad bunch.
We've also got Ellis Samet, who's a good centre wing bench player.
Bench player?
I think I chose the wrong question here.
That's a bit of a...
For someone to go on your bench, Jared Croker.
Joe Croker, yeah. Or the other guy a lot of people are going for this week is Jack Howarth. How do you feel about going enough, a dual position enough, who might play over that origin period? I don't know which way to lean on this.
I'd probably try and go another nuff. I think because Bellamy's been a bit gun-shy to debut Howarth. I think, I don't know if it's they're trying to get game time into him playing against men. I don't know if that's the issue, but I see, because he's got the height, why he's a certain cheapie that you're targeting, but I don't like it. I think Hayes Dunster is probably a better shout. I've got some decent Parramatta mail, and it's his position if he performs well.
Right, ahead of Simonson.
Ahead of Simonson,
right.
so
strong mail there. Yeah,
it's not strong. It's not strong. It's very loose, but we get some good Bryce Cartwright mail out of Penrith. So
would you consider Dunster ahead of Croker this week?
100%.
100%. All right, there we go.
But
there we go.
He scored 8 last week. So.
Yes.
So I need to see another week from him at least.
Definitely a few defensive errors from him over the weekend. Jamie is asking Dylan Brown as a buy. A lot of people are looking to sell Dewey this week with the ACL. Brown is pretty high on the list for me. I think I have Munster ahead, but Brown is good and he's got a great buy schedule as well.
A lot of people were targeting Brown a few weeks back because of the buy coverage. I think you've got to get Brown in now if you're going to get one of the 5/8, because I think you're going to get left without him if you don't get him. But that being said, Munster's hard to pass up, isn't he?
Got some zingers coming through. Jack is saying Savs is bringing the best shaped moustache to the news desk since Ron Burgundy.
Timmy's going to hate that one.
Oh, yeah, he's not going to be happy at all.
Cheers, mate.
That's for sure. We'll get back to the run sheet. Adam Dewey, of course, out with the ACL. So really unfortunate for him. It's the third ACL to the same knee. So we're in pretty dire straits for Adam Dewey, unfortunately. Ruben Garrick, I see, is a popular sell, and he's been left out this week due to that concussion. I think that he's a hold. He was the top averaging CTW going into last round before that concussion. So for me, it's a definite hold.
I would have liked him to play this week against Melbourne as a non-owner, just so with that high BE, he'd be more achievable in a few weeks. It's going to be interesting when his draw opens up and he's got a high BE. I think the time to buy him will be before everyone else does.
Right, there we go. And Wade Egan, another concussion, he's out. So, look, he could easily be sold to someone like Sonny Luke, who's a popular cheapie.
Yep.
Upgrade to Harry Grant, or if you can swing it to Nico Hines or someone like that, then absolutely go for it. Speaking of the buys, Sonny Luke is the most popular cheapie this week. What are your thoughts?
I like him.
Yeah.
I think the minutes on the weekend are a true reflection of what he's going to get. And I think he got about 55, which I like.
Yeah, I like it too. It's just an awkward position to be buying a cheapie. Having said that, I've got Tanner Boyd who I could sell in that position. So he is an option for me. Latrell Mitchell, you've already got him. Would you be suggesting people get on this week after that huge score? We know he doesn't tend to back him up too much, but scored 3 tries on the weekend, including this one. It was massive for him, but consistency can be an issue.
He's 150th. I was very happy watching this game as a captainer. Has the Dolphins this week. I don't know how he's going to go there because they've defensively been good. And then it toughens up a bit with Penrith, your Melbournes. But I think he's a buy. And I think if I was a Reece Walsh owner, I'd be looking at selling him soon. And you can make some money off that trade as well.
Yeah, he is extremely cheap, Latrell, after a pretty tough start to the season with their matchups. I think it's $160K cheaper than his starting price.
Yeah.
Very good price for Latrell. Cody Walker is another guy at the Rabbitohs who's starting to look good. You could easily bring him in for Adam Dewey.
Yeah, I think I like Munster better, and Dylan Brown. But Cody Walker, he was phenomenal on the weekend, wasn't he?
The draw for the Rabbitohs has just been strange this year in that they just always seem to have tough games. They've, Cody and Latrell are both seemingly matchup proof.
Do you think it's just the competition getting a bit closer together? Like the bottom, there's not many bottom sides.
There's not too many gimmies, are there, this year?
You've kind of got to get the side on their week where they leak points.
Hame Sele, I want your true thoughts on him. I've got him on the buy list. Is he the? I think Sonny Luke is the cheapie of the week, but is Hame Sele a genuine option?
I'm going to look into him.
I'm
going to look into him because I'm desperate for someone like this.
Yeah. He's dual position too, so that works.
Or you could get Murdoch Masilla as well.
He's another one on my list, but it's a
pretty serious.
It's a pretty well. I've got asked about him a fair bit on the blog today, so a lot of people are keen on him. But look, the PPM is just so bad.
Not good, is
the
it?
The minutes are good, and job security is not too bad, but the PPM is not good.
Yeah, attacking stat coming.
Yeah, it needs to happen. That's what we need. Fingers crossed. Sells, Jermaine Hopgood. I sold him last week. I'm pretty happy I did, to be honest. Mid-40s is not keeper levels for that position, so you can cash him in for a 250k profit.
Yeah, and Arthur doesn't like to use his bench very well, so I'm pretty happy to have him gone. Although I love him as a player.
Yeah, I absolutely love him, but I think he does have to go. He's peaked in price. He's going to start leaking cash now. Adam Dewey obviously has to go. And thoughts on Paul Alamotti, Utakamanu, Warbrick. They've all early season cheapies who have probably peaked. Any of those that you're looking to hold on for longer than this week?
I don't think there's any. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to hold them longer. But if you need to, it's fine to hold them. They're not an urgent sell. Their break evens are kind of where they're at. So I don't mind holding them.
Yeah, I think all of them will be going before too long for me. That's for sure. Andrew Dean is asking, Couchman is better, or he's saying Couchman is better as a prop cheapie than the guys we were mentioning before. Eye test wise, he's been pretty good.
He looks very good, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yep, that's a genuine point there. Matt Granger. Oh, gee, I can't say that one live. Oh, jeez. Your mum jokes are going on in.
Your mum jokes.
People are pulling out your mum jokes on Facebook Live. Thoughts on Turbo and his lingering injury? A lot of people are selling. Would you?
No. Yeah, plays Melbourne this week, which you're not expecting much from him, but in the next few weeks, I think he's in for a good one.
Yeah, I mean, that Melbourne game is at 4 Pines, which is his favourite ground, so he could still go okay. I'm not going to captain him or anything.
Nah.
I still think he could go okay, and then he's got Tigers, Titans, I think it is, in the next 2 games, and one of those is at 4 Pines. So he'll be a definite captain choice that week.
And everyone will be rushing to get him in that week. If they've sold him, they'll be stressing out hard.
Let's run through each of the games. At the Dolphins, they got Jesse Bromwich back, but Jared Wallace is out. Just pick a guy who's standing out for you in this team.
Tom Gilbert.
Yeah.
I know he turned up on the weekend.
Popular.
Don't want to chase points, but geez, he's one that we missed.
And how about me, Hamaso Tabuai-Fidoa said sell last week and he peaked and had that high BE. Comes out and cracks a ton. So hopefully he didn't listen. And Asako's going nuts again as well. Both of those guys.
Asako's made 270k and he's got a negative 22 break even.
It's nuts. People are buying this week. He's the 9th most purchased player or something.
I don't blame them. He's turned up 2 weeks in a row. There's a good cash flow there.
And kicking goals.
Yeah, and kicking goals. And the hammer as well. He's surprised me. Look, if he wasn't... Oh, he is dual position, isn't he?
Yeah.
He could be an end-of-season guy. Like, he's where their attack goes through.
Yep. Could be a keeper to the end of the year. Hopefully you didn't listen to me last week. Rabbitohs, they got Alex Johnston and Jai Arrow back. He's a pretty big inclusion in the pack. Isaac Thompson's in a bit of doubt, but he has been named on the wing. So much Supercoach action here with guys like Latrell and Cody Walker. The guy who's surprised me is Kaloa Matangi. He's chugging along quite nicely.
Yeah, 70 without doing much on the weekend, was it? 720k.
Yep, it's a lot of money.
Premium price, isn't he? I like it, the other second rower, Jacob Host, 300k, negative 15 break even. A lot of people are screaming for cheapies. It could be worse.
Had a bit of attack in him over the weekend as well. I know it wasn't the toughest matchup for him, but he did show a bit with ball in hand. Sharks v the Roosters. The Sharks have got Rudolph and Finucane both out. Who's standing out for you here? It's all about Nico, but anyone else pique your interest?
Tom Hazelton, I guess.
Yeah.
He's named on the bench with Finucane out. I think the front row cheapies, they're not going to be great. And I think if he punches out a 40 off the bench and keeps doing that, that's great.
Yeah. Yep, fair enough. And the Roosters, Teddy's back from that concussion. That means Joseph Manu goes back to the centres. Jackson Paulo's having a pretty serious season, and you can't realistically buy him, but what a pod he has been for the people who got on.
Yeah, Jesus, I think if you were told at the start of the season who would be the top averaging centre wings, and Hammer, Azarko, and Jackson Paulo were up there,
That's fairy tale
not
stuff.
have picked that.
Sea Eagles v the Storm. So Garrick and Lawton are out. Aaron Woods is making his club debut after switching from the Dragons. Turbo says he is sweet to play. And Schuster, interestingly, named on the extended bench. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? Anyone standing out for you here?
Ray Tuamala Vega,
yep.
On the wing.
I'm glad you said it, not me.
I can't say Fasua Mawali, so
yeah.
I said it pretty good then. Obviously in for Garrick for the week, but on the left side, if there's any attack, he might get some. He'll get a spot over Origin potentially with Garrick playing fullback. So that's the kind of nuff you might want to go after if people are nuffing instead of Howarth.
It's not a bad shout and could be a little one-week wonder in draft leagues as well. Storm. Cameron Munster moves to fullback. Eli Katoa's chugging along pretty well. I think Warbrick is a sell pretty soon. It looks like he's going to flatten out from here.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yep. Moving on to the Warriors. Good to see Tohu is back in their team, but they've lost Tamari Martin and Wade Egan. They're big blows. Thoughts on this side? Anyone popping out for you?
There's actually a lot. Chance and Sean Johnson. Chance still has a negative break even at 400k-ish. 470k, sorry. He looks so good. But there's also Bailey Sirenin at 270k who's named to start.
Yep, that's a good call there. And Jackson Ford's just churning it out week in, week out for Supercoaches. So he's an indefinite hold for now.
Yeah,
probably get you through that first buy as well.
St George let him go.
Yes, yeah. that was the Illawarra part stuff up there. Cowboys, Jeremiah Nanai's back from suspension, but they've lost Griffin Neem for 2 months with a throat injury. Val Holmes is frustrating. I got asked about him a couple of times in the blog, whether this is the week to actually bring him in. Would you be bringing him in this week?
No. If you've gone this long without him, I think Origin's coming up and he's someone you'd probably look at selling over the Origin period.
Yeah, it hasn't quite worked out for him. I've got guys like Lockie Miller are ahead, more important than someone like Val Holmes.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyone else standing out for you there?
Cohen Hess.
Yes.
I mean, we're desperate for that front row, aren't we? Scored on the weekend, 375k. Not much going on in the front row, is there?
The Cowboys have been a massive disappointment this year. At the Knights, Lockie Miller is just one of these guys who I feel like I have to get in at some stage, but there's never a perfect time to bring him in. So he's on my radar. Certainly before that round 13 bye, he should be on most people's radars.
Nearly 800k, and he's goal kicking now. So I think he was only goal kicking on the right side before, and Jackson Hastings was doing from the left. I don't know if you noticed that, but he they were doing sides, but it looks like he's taken it full time.
Yeah, he's got it full time. Happy days. Who else there that you're liking?
Phoenix Crossland.
Crossland at hooker is interesting.
Yeah. Kurt Mann on the bench will obviously deputise for a little bit, especially when Adam Elliott's back, but 270k, he scored a try on the weekend.
Yep, and Greggy Marziu is chugging along pretty nicely there too and has retained his spot. Didn't make too many absolutely horrendous defensive reads on the weekend, so hopefully he can stay in there for a few more weeks. Panthers, no changes, but they do have the lurkers. By the lurkers, I mean Liam Martin and Luke Garner, so they could throw the cat amongst the pigeons in terms of guys like Lindsay Smith and Zach Hosking as well.
Yeah, this is the big watch for that game, isn't it?
Dylan Edwards, any love for him? 140 odd on the weekend.
Not in that fullback spot, but Jesus, it's tough watching. It's actually, I really like watching him because he's never Supercoach relevant. It's good to watch him. Taruva,
Taruva, I'm staying
not
on
yet,
him. He's still my fourth centre wing for now, but we'll see. He'll have to go at some stage.
Yeah.
Now, we've got some questions here. Surely Dewey's a hold. He's only out for the season. No, please. Any love for McInnes? He'll be starting at lock for the next 3 weeks.
470k.
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, no, I'm not on, but I like it. I've heard that he's had a quiet pre-season, so that's why he's been limited minutes. So I think over the next few weeks he'll step up a gear, hopefully.
And Josh Maroney's asking, thoughts on picking up Tohu next week? I would love Haas, Tapane and Harris as my props. Well, I mean, that's a great little setup to aim for. But I feel like there's going to be guys going up in price who you can get next week. Tohu will have dipped to a decent price, though, by next round.
Yeah, not if it's your third front rower. If it's your second, I'd be aiming at getting him in, but not a third one. That you can get much more points elsewhere.
Titans v the Broncos. Kieran Foran's back, and Sexton drops out of the team. Good to see Olafiana Khan-Pereira there, but keep an eye on late mail to see if he retains his spot. Anyone popping out for you here?
That fullback position?
Yeah.
Jaden Campbell?
Yeah, he looks good. Tanner Boyd is a popular sell this week as well. At the Broncos, no real changes there. They've got Kobe Hetherington in for Flegler. You mentioned Reece Walsh could be a sell in coming weeks. Do you own him, and when are you going to pull the trigger?
I don't. So maybe that's why
so
I'm
yeah. It's such a good matchup this week. And then I think the good matchups end, or I might have one more after that.
Yeah, I think it's this week or next week, but I think the plan for a lot of owners would have been to hold on for this week and next week and then sell.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's scoring so well, it's going to be hard to pinpoint that exact moment when to do it. And I think sooner rather than later before the price drops.
Moving on to the Raiders, they've got Whiten and Tapane back into that team, so a couple of big inclusions, and Jared Croker retains his spot. What are your thoughts on the job security of Croker? Does he stay in there? Is he a permanent player in their spot, or was he just picked as a bit of a couple of weeks wonder, particularly given who was marking up against Stags? Was he just a specialist to take on Katoni last week and Reece Walsh both coming at him?
I don't know. I think if they win this week, I'll be much more confident. But he's such a stalwart of the Raiders. I think if he performs, they find a way to keep him, right?
Yeah, I think that's the go. They've brought him in to stay. So I think his job security is okay. But equally, Seb Chris could easily go back to centre. Savage goes to fullback, and he's heave-hoed from the side. Dragons have... I'm not sure if Ravalawa's been dropped or he's injured, but Tautau Moga comes in on the wing, which is an interesting change. Anyone you're liking at the Dragons?
Oh, I played Tyrell Sloan on the weekend, and I did not like him. But he's going to be that guy that's hit and miss, so I think if you've got him, he's probably a hold till round 13 bye.
Zach Lomax is a guy I'm interested in, not now, but maybe in round 11, 12, 13, to cover that round 13 bye. I don't think he's going to make Origin, and he's kicking goals. He's got good base. Hopefully get some big attacking stats soon.
His base is very good. I was watching him very closely because I wanted Tyrell Sloan to score. He was taking every second hit up off a kick return. So the fact that he's getting in there and doing that work with the goal kicking, that security is so good.
At the Eels, they got Junior Barlow back into that team. Clint Gutherson is getting spoken about as a pod. Thoughts?
Yeah, good buy coverage.
Yeah. So you'd get on now, you wouldn't wait till round...
Nah, I'd wait 12. Till round 13, I reckon.
Right on 13.
Yeah, just because the ceiling of these fullbacks, Teddy, Latrell coming up.
Yep. And then finally, at the Doggies, they've got Tavita Pangai named a prop, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes in that slot, because he has threatened to be a Supercoach gun in the past, but it's never quite happened for him.
This year could be the year.
I hope so.
He could be the guy.
Jacob Carraz, people are selling this week. Would you recommend? Has he peaked, or is he just a keeper till the end of the season?
I think he's a keeper for now. He played the Rabbitohs on the weekend, and they didn't get much possession at all. He gets all his points from hit-ups and tackle breaks, offloads. They weren't getting any of that. They were getting dominated. So take that 51 with a try assist as a once-in-a-blue moon score.
Yep, plenty of questions and comments coming through. We'll take a few till the end of the show. Savs is on YouTube. I'm all over Facebook Live. Harrison saying, only those without Walsh want us to sell. Just admit you missed the boat and he's a season keeper.
Oh, I missed the boat.
I missed the boat. I don't know if he's a season keeper, particularly with his base, but I certainly missed the boat.
Keep him. I'm happy with that.
What have we got on YouTube?
J-Dog, I know we said it before, kind of, but Cody Walker or Dylan Brown. So we're debating Dylan Brown or Munster. Cody Walker or Dylan Brown?
Look, I think Cody probably has the big upside. I'd actually lean towards Cody, and I own Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown's got the base. He's got slightly better bye coverage, but Walker has good bye coverage too, so I'd probably go for him. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I think the ceiling is very good. Harrow, what's the max amount of trade boosts you should use by this point?
Oh, I definitely want 3 left for the 3 big buy rounds. That's what I'm looking towards. But I think I'm going to spend another trade boost this week.
I think it's okay.
Just do it.
Just
trade away.
I have 2 left, and I'm probably doing it next week. So.
Oh, wow. So you're going to have 1 left for the buyers.
Yeah.
Evan saying, how did you get Merv Hughes on the show?
I've got another one here, actually. Terry Kovalis. Savage looks like he was conceived in an 80s adult film.
That's good.
I like
that is good. I think we might end on that high note, actually. Big thanks to Savs for coming in. Thanks for listening. Good luck, and we'll catch you for the Game Day podcast at 11 a.m. Thursday. See you then.